What's up, everyone? Welcome to another sensational, exciting episode of the Curious K podcast. My name is Kolapo, and I'm your host. And this is the month of July. This is the second half of the year, and it's really exciting for me because this is going to be the start of the second season of the Curious K podcast. The first episode was launched on 30th of June 2021, and how time flies. I'm very excited. We are in the second season of the podcast, and a big shout out to all the listeners and all the guests that has been on the show so far. So let's get right into it. This episode features Ogholi Kelvin, who is the co-founder and CEO at CoTrust Equity. And CoTrust Equity is a finance and credit providing company that harnesses extensive knowledge of target audience, peculiarities, and cultures to provide unique credit plans to banked and unbanked in the rural or suburban MSMEs in Nigeria and Sub-Saharan Africa. And it's very, very exciting for me to have Kelvin on the show today. And before I just bring in Kelvin, I'll just quickly talk about when we met. And I think that was in 2015. It was during the Chivas, the venture pitch competition in 2015. Can you remember that, Kelvin?
Yeah, very well. I can. I could picture the whole Chivas process and everything. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much, Kelvin, for joining us today on Curious Kid Podcast. It's an honor to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you too, Kolapo. I'm happy being here. Look forward to this, and yeah, it's finally happening. So I'm so happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, 2015, that's like 7 years ago, how time flies. And when I was just trying to do like background research before this podcast, I came across your video again. All right, your pitch at the Unreasonable Institute. You know, and I can still see the passion, the energy, because it was just very exciting how you were able to communicate what you were doing there.
Yeah.
And I think you brought that same energy to ventures. Were you like top? Were you selected as the finalist for Chivas then? Or what was the outcome? I can't really. It's kind of blurry for me right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So for Chivas, we we're five. Is it five or six finalists that skated through after this semi-final process, and yeah, if I can remember very well. And so I think it was just two persons were picked. I and this lady was her name. I can't remember her name again, but I know she's one of the special advisors to the governor of is the Ogun State or Ogun State thereabouts. Angel, her name is Angel, fresh direct. Yeah. So two of us were picked as the winners, but she was preferred. So she was the preferred one among the two of us.
Right.
But it was a tough one.
Yeah, I remember the pitch event as well. For those listening, I was building talking books at that point. It was an audiobook platform, and what we were trying to do is to showcase unique African content to the world. That was what I pitched then, and I can remember one of the judges, Audu of Chocolate City.
Chocolate City.
Yeah, I think it was part of the judges. It was really exciting. How time flies. So can you tell us about what you were building then? Can you just tell us about that?
Okay. So basically, what we were doing then was we were running a social enterprise that focused on using planet-friendly techniques to convert agricultural and environmental waste into low-cost feeds for smallholder farmers. Yeah, so basically we're trying to major goal then was to lower the cost of animal protein, like egg, fish, and meat, right? So and one way we felt we could really do that was to tackle the root cause, and the root cause basically was the expensive feeds that farmers, the conventional expensive feed that farmers get, to feed their poultry and the livestock. Yeah, and so we decided to tackle the root cause, which was to find an alternative to what's already existing in the market, and that was to come up with an alternative feed that is less expensive, easy to access. We were able to come up with a new feed formula that requires that's less expensive, right? And raw materials are readily available, and also it's easy for farmers to use to feed their livestock. And some of those raw materials we formulated into these low-cost feeds were materials gotten from breweries, industries, farm organic waste, fruits waste from fruit juice companies. Yeah, so at the end of the day, we were able to formulate a new kind of feed made from little no cost raw materials. Yeah, so that was what we were doing then, and we're able to get these fees to the hands of smaller farmers across the country. And after some time, we recorded some increase in their profit margin. We realized that farmers could easily use the money they use in buying one feed to one bag of 25 kg feeds to actually buy maybe 3 or 4 of our own 25 kg feeds. Yeah, yeah. So basically, that was all we're doing then. Yeah.
And I think, when I was watching your video again on YouTube at the Unreasonable Institute, I still can really connect to the problem. I mean, you're trying to solve.
Yeah.
Because I have like where I live, in the estate where I live, there is someone that has like a farm, in his like compound. So I go there to buy like uh chicken broilers from him, from
Yeah.
time to time. And this guy still complains about how expensive,
Feeds. Yeah.
these feeds are. I mean, this is like 6 years after you've. So, how do you think this has like impacted the farmers? Are you still working actively on the company? What changed? Were you able to raise investment? Can you just give us that, sneak peek into how that evolved, or how are you able to communicate that, formula to formulas, maybe across your community and scale that beyond it?
Okay. So currently at the moment we are not running the company again, and so sometime in 2019 we 2019 and early 2020 yeah, we had to shut down, and one of the reasons we shut down was because we were um, right, we were incurring more costs in terms of operations. So operations, so basically power, right? So you need constant power for you to constantly carry out your operations. So for us, we're running on diesel, right? And diesel was becoming expensive and expensive and expensive. So all the profit we were making, from the low cost of fees, were going into power consumption. Yeah. So what we did was to come up with before we shut down, what we did was to come up with another formula, which we called feeds from the boss. So we decided to, since we can't produce at the moment, right? So why don't us teach farmers, how to produce their own feed. So we carried out the first pilot, second pilot, then we prototype, and yeah, so we're able to teach some farmers in our community, not just our community, but outside our communities, to farmers how to produce their own feeds from these readily available low-cost raw materials in their environment. Yeah. But before then, we realized that technically, right? So farmers who depends 100% on conventional feeds, right? So don't stay in the market, up to maybe 2 years, after the first cycle, especially for layer farmers, after the first 18 months, they can't continue. Why? Because the prices of feed keeps going up and up and up. And at the end of the day, when they sell their livestock, or even the eggs, right? When they sell the poultry, the eggs, and they don't recover, as much profit they need to make, to keep the business going. Yeah. So most of them, after the first 18 months, 2 years, you just see them going out of business and start thinking of something else to do. So the challenge I mean, it's a big challenge in the country. A lot of bottlenecks, a lot of middlemen, yeah, in the whole process. Making it difficult for smallholder farmers, yeah, to really rise and become sustainable at the end of the day.
Power to the cost of diesel.
Yeah.
Uh, maybe a liter of diesel then was like 200 or 190, maybe, but now it's at 800 or over,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
over 800, some sell for 800 plus now.
Wow, that's like over 400% price
Price,
increase.
yeah, yeah, increases. Yes.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, the impact of some of like these uh price increase can affect businesses and make businesses close shop. So did you
Sure.
explore fundraising at that point, or what was like the business model? Because you said you've been able to effectively reduce the cost of feed, right? That
Yeah.
was like the initial goal, but in trying to even make this happen, uh the money you're saving now is now going into power, diesel
Yes.
costs and all that. And so essentially that affected business, right? So in that
Yeah.
process, do you explore fundraising? Were investors interested to help out, or you just felt like okay, or were you bootstrapping all through to be able to get to like a certain revenue, and you decided like, oh, this is not, we just have to switch our business?
Oh, okay, okay. So I mean, after our first, yeah. So my in 2014, my co-founder and I, Many Blessing, were at the Unreasonable Institute in the US, and after the whole unreasonable processes, yeah, we got an angel investor, right, to give us some form of funding, and then coming back to Nigeria, we got some really good people interested in what we're doing. Yeah, but I mean, keep promising and promising and not fulfilling. Yeah, so we had a lot of meetings back and forth. Traveled to Abuja, Lagos, different places. Just to make sure that we get the right investors on board, right? So, but I mean, it wasn't really working out for us. So, but we decided to then the money comes in, comes in, put it back into the business. So we're doing that, trying to build some form of financial power, right, for us to a certain stage where we can then say, okay, I mean, this is what we've been able to do with what we have, and this is the progress we've made, and this is where where we are going to, right? So, but in the peak of early 2020, yeah, the whole thing just went took a different turn entirely on us. And yeah, so that's where we are at the moment.
Interesting. I mean, building
Yeah.
is really tough. And
Yeah.
so, how did that evolve to co-equity? So, after the switch, what happened? Can you walk us through that?
Okay, so talking about the switch, that means I will have to talk about my co-founder too in the whole process. Yeah, so in 2019, or rather from 2018, 2019, so my co-founder right, I left and he decided to start up his own company in Lagos, right? So he left Delta State to Lagos, started up his own company, focus on biotechnology, cultural biotechnology, and also biosecurity too, right? So when he left, I was the only one left to keep running the whole process, and right. So, well, it was a tough one for me, right? You built something with a co-founder from the very beginning, and things were really going the way as planned, and your co-founder left, so you just have to really make some really tough decision, right? So, from there, I switched over to what I was doing before, called AgroV, right? So from Unfire, I switched over to AgroV, and in AgroV, so I was doing consulting. I was also producing feeds too, but doing more of consulting. So I had people working for producing feeds. We were doing consulting. We were doing even crop farming. Yeah, just to keep the whole thing going, right? So, but we're making profit, we're generating revenue, but it wasn't really much as profitable as we thought it would be. Why? Because more of it was going to servicing the company we were running, right? So in 2020, late 2020, I mean, I went back to, take some courses on finances, community development, micro lending. And yeah, so I realized that, okay, fine, I've had some successes in the agricultural space, right? So it's time for me to move forward, to move on to something better, but also in same line of helping small older farmers, micro traders, right? So that was what gave birth to CoTrust Equity, right? So taking the lesson we learned from
Hello,
Unfire
hello,
Agri,
Kelvin.
right? Dealing with
Kelvin, can you
yes,
hear me?
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I lost
I
you
can hear you very
from.
well.
Yeah, I lost you for some seconds. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah. I think. Sorry
okay.
about that. I'm just trying to recollect. So I think you mentioned like the it wasn't like profitable as you thought. So you took a course. I think it was after that
Yes.
point. I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, experiencing those challenges, right? We like keep bootstrapping. So I decided to, go back to take some courses in finance and then, micro lending, community development, just to fully understand.
Amazing. And so, what is the business model around these micro lending for farmers? How do you engage or reach out to them? You know, is it a solution that you're very excited about? Can you tell us about that?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. So basically, we run two business. Our business model is divided into two. So one of them is the cluster model, which involves um, you know um, micro traders, right, coming together to form a community or a cluster. So the reason why we run a cluster model is because micro traders, some of them, majority of them are unbanked, and they don't really have the capacity to access funding on their own as individuals. So
So
we
by
group them in.
micro, so by micro traders, what do you mean by that in terms of see how much the revenue or how much they can access? Can you break that down as you
Yes,
put?
yes. So it could come in from the two from the two sides, how much they can access, and their daily revenue, weekly revenue, monthly revenue. So a very good example of a micro trader is the lady who has a shop in front of her house, the lady who rows a wheelbarrow selling food, or the lady who sells let me use the word plantain, which is pole and fish at the roadside. So the lady who sells at the market, who has a small shop at the market. Yeah, so those are all micro traders. And we realize that these micro traders, they are responsible for providing daily services for, I mean, more than 100 million Nigerians daily, right? So because these are the people, when you wake up in the morning, their shop is the closest to your house, right? I mean, yeah, so their trading capacity most times a day is usually between 5,000 to 20,000 naira, or even some even as far as 30,000 naira, right? So those are their trading capacity, right? So their monthly
So
trading
that's like
capacity.
$10 to $50, that range.
Yes, 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 yes. We could, yeah, we could classify it that too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It falls within that range too. So those are the trading capacities. So, but basically, these micro traders are the ones who we deal with on daily basis, right? They are, like I said, they are the ones when you wake up in the morning. They are the ones you see, and they are the ones you buy things from. The quick things you just need just to get going, and then yeah. So and we've realized that these micro traders in the country, they provide daily needs services for over 100 million Nigerians on daily basis. Yeah.
All right, interesting. I mean that. So where did you launch this? I mean, did you have like a pilot, or how did you get into the market? And we also talk about licensing as well. So I
Yeah.
mean, if you can break that down for us.
Okay. Yeah. So we started officially. October last year, right? So, but before then, for October, we've been running pilots and testing the model to see how it works very well. Yeah, yeah. So basically, like I was explaining to you earlier on, the model is it's in two ways. So we have the cluster system, and also too we have the individual system. So individual system is a where these micro traders, right, could easily locate clusters on their own, right? So they could locate clusters through our web app. You know, they could just type the location on their web app, and from there they get across to, you know, they see different clusters and communities within their business location, and you know they just tap, due diligence is done immediately on the sports, and you know when they pass the process, they get funded like almost immediately, right? So then on the cluster part of it, so they could you know, the cluster champion you know, goes out to look for these micro traders, you know, and trap them into his or her clusters, and from there they access funding, and you know they continue running their business. So then about licensing. So what we have at the moment is a local license. So the local license is a license you get from, you know, from the court that permits you to operate your lending, to carry out your lending practice, you know, on a local level, right? So, but at the moment, we're currently trying to get our MFB license from CBN. We started the process already. So, and then we're hoping that in the next couple of months, license from CBN will be out. So once that comes out, it gives us the opportunity to, you know, to do and go far and wide as far as we want to go.
Amazing. And during the pilot until now, I mean, what has been like the default rate? You know, how is that? I mean, is it very high? Is it very low? I mean, for the cluster part, and for the individual, you know, part as well.
Okay, I mean, if I tell you that the default rate is just like you know, maybe 0.02%, I mean it's hard to believe, right? So because, you
Wow.
know, somebody told me something that, you know, that in the lending business, where the challenge is not in giving out the money, right? I mean, you could see 1 million people that wants to collect money today. If you say you're giving out money today, trust me, in the next 1 hour, you will have 1 million people in your doorstep, right, waiting to collect loans from you. But where the challenge is in retrieving back the money. So what we decided to do was, to, you know, I mean, that whole cluster system solves a lot of the challenge. Why? Because there's shared liability. So one default invalidates the entire cluster. So a cluster is made up of, you know, 10 micro traders minimum, 10 minimum micro traders. So if there's one default, the entire cluster don't have the chance of collecting money again, yeah, right, or accessing funds again from the company. So they are responsible for each other. So a very good example would be, so something happened last month. So that's like what was the reason why I decided to say, okay, maybe 0.2% defaults, right? So there's a particular cluster group. A particular lady did not, when she was supposed to pay back her loan, she didn't pay on time. I think maybe 1 or 2 days default period. And you know what the entire nine market women did was to go and lay siege in the house of that lady. Just, I mean, just to make sure that, they
Yeah,
did
you can't
that.
you,
Yeah,
you can't
yeah.
you can't mess us all up because of
I'm telling you, I'm
because
telling you.
yeah.
So they don't want to pay for a mistake, right? So they need to grow their business, and they don't want somebody's negligence, right, to be the cause, you know, for them not being able to access funding again, right? So the late siege in lady's house, and you know, and on the second day, the lady was able to rally around and make sure she pays both the defaults and, you know, and the funds she's yeah, the loan she's owning. So that's, so for us, that has been the only default we've had so far. So, but we anticipate that, you know, I mean, as we grow and as we get in more clusters, as we build in more communities, there are going to be default rates. But we are trying as much as we can to you know, to really reduce the risk, and we have a lot of risk assessment measures we put in place. So, for instance, we are partnering with a company called Credit Check. So Credit Check helps update your customer know those who have really collected loans from other microfinance organizations, and also if they are lying to you, so you run through their BVN or through their phone numbers and you get this information. So that's one of our partners, even though we have our own internal risk assessment process that we carry out. Yeah. So for us, the default rate has really been low, but that doesn't mean that we're not anticipating default rate, as we increase and as we scale.
All right. So in terms of fundraising now for CoTrust Equity, how has that been? Has this been bootstrapped to date? Have you fundraised? Are you planning to?
Yes. So at the moment we currently both co-founders brought in their the startup capital, right? So from very first day till now we've been bootstrapping, right? So recycling what has been coming in profit, revenue, capital has been recycled, has been on the recycle process. So but at the moment we're currently trying to raise our pre-seed. So because the reason for that is we've tested the model, we see how it works, and we're profitable, right? So we're profitable. So we are currently in the market trying to raise our pre-seed for us to scale to new locations, get improved on our technology, and also get some really good tech guys behind the scene to really get the job going.
All right, and I just want to talk quickly about interest rates. How does that work? Because you mentioned something about credit check, so you can know people that have defaulted before. You can have like your KYC on
Yeah.
these women. This is the first time most of these women have been, you know, having access to financial inclusion. They don't have bank accounts and all that. So, in terms of your interest rate, what metrics do you use? And if you can talk about it as well, what percentage, what range do you use, on giving out loans to these micro traders? And do you do for farmers as well, or just exclusively on the micro traders?
Okay, yeah. So let me start with the second question. If we do for farmers, right? Yeah, we do. So it causes across the entire micro business value chain. So farmers, micro farmers, smaller farmers, yeah, micro traders, small businesses. Yeah. So it cuts across the entire small business value chain, either as a farmer or yeah, so it cuts across. Then so secondly, yeah, what interest rate? So because we know that these micro business owners, majority of them are unbanked, right? Yeah, so unbanked and underbanked, right? So some of them live in off-grid locations where they don't have access to financial service providers like the formal financial institutions, the banks, and even the informal financial institutions like those local collectors, and the rest. They don't have access to them. So what we do is for the unbanked, the underbanked, right? So what we do for them is to put them in clusters. So which was what I explained earlier on, right? So they work in clusters, and yeah, and the interest rate. I mean, it's highly competitive. So what I mean competitive is so we've studied our competitors. We know their interest rate. I mean, some of our competitors give us as high as 10% interest rate. I mean, it's really crazy, right? A micro trader, collecting loan for as high as 10% interest rate. I mean, it's you don't want them to be in business if you're doing that, right? Yeah. So, but we look beyond that. So, our interest rates are really competitive. But what defines or what determines our interest rate to are certain criteria like the cluster system. Are they coming in under the cluster system, or they're coming in as an individual to get funding, right? So when they're coming under the cluster system, the interest rate is different. And when they're also coming into as an individual, the interest rate is different. Then also to also look at security. So for instance, if you're coming in as an individual, so we are assuming that you have some form of guarantors, you have a guarantor, and you have some form of collaterals, right? So, but when you don't have all of this, I mean, we discuss with you, we help to understand your funding needs, and we see how it fits in into what we're offering. So if it fits in, then I mean, you get funded. But if it doesn't, right, we just try to put you into a more safe zone, which is cluster. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Kelvin, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, so, I mean, can you tell us about, I mean, your vision for CoTrust Equity? I mean, where do you see this company in terms of scale? I think you've done over 750,000 US dollars in
Yes.
loans now. So, where do you
Revolving.
see, sorry?
Yes. So that's revolving, right? So I mean, so when I mean revolving, I believe in what I mean. So like from when we started to this very day.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
revolving.
where do you see this platform? What's your grand vision for CoTrust Equity?
So first of all, we have access to 22 million. Okay, so let me start with the entire micro traders landscape in Sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria, being the biggest market share, right? We have 40 million, 40 to 44 million plus micro traders, right? On the banked micro traders, right? Currently in the market. So that we have access as a company, we have access to 51% of it, which is like 22 million micro. So we want to be able to achieve this. We want to be able to fund 22 million micro traders, in less than 1 decade. So between 9 and 5, 6, or between 5, 6, 7 years, right? We want to be able to say we've provided funding for 22 million micro traders, in Nigeria and Sub-Saharan Africa. Yeah. So for us, that's like a high level vision, right? A high level vision. So a low level vision for us means that we want to have a name. We want to be able to have a name as it has good name in the micro lending space. I mean, in Nigeria, where when you think of micro lending, the first name that comes to your mind is CoTrust, right? The first name that comes to your mind is CoTrust. When you think of a micro lending company that is helping micro businesses, micro traders, businesses, small businesses to grow and expand, the first name that comes to your mind is CoTrust. And I mean, we in achieving this too, we want to also be become a unicorn like in the next 5, 6, 7 years, or the next 7 years rather, right? Become a unicorn and something everyone identifies with.
So,
Yeah.
Kelvin, in terms of like your plans going forward, your plans for the future, can you also tell us about like some of like the biggest challenges that you faced as an entrepreneur or as a founder?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So some of the challenges I face so far involves funding, right? I mean, funding and everyone wants to see you succeed, right? Everyone believes when you succeed, but people don't really. Very few understand the processes, the road, the hurdles, the road and hurdles you take in getting there. But what they were just want to say is just the whole big and the whole picture that shows that you are a success, right? So for me, one of the challenges as a founder, right, has been funding. So what I mean by funding is most times I've always get to bootstrap, right? Bootstrap, even though I mean, thing is what we're doing is amazing. People want you to validate it over and over again, and people don't just want to throw their money on something. They want to see that this thing is really working, right? So and it's the work of every founder to prove that over and over again to potential investors, partners. Yeah, so for me, one of the challenges has been funding for me. Then also to another challenge too, for me has been attracting the right talents, right? So the entire country landscape has placed young people in a pedestal where they want to get something immediately, like they want to get something from whatever they're involving themselves in, right? So, and and as a founder, when you don't have the money to pay, the right talents, right? You literally have to become the operations, you have to become the CEO, you have to become the marketer, you have to become the sales person, you have to become the accountant, right?
The
So
social media
I'm
strategist.
telling you, yes, 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 yes. You just have to put your leg in all of this to make sure that what you're doing keeps going on. So you get the right fund to attract the right talent. And I mean, there are a lot of amazing talents out there, but it's challenging getting them to come on board when they're not getting the right incentives, right? Right, that would really problem. Yeah, that even if you say you want to offer them equity, right? So when the equity is not equal to cash in the bank at the moment, right? I mean, they will still don't want to come on board, right? So because and I don't blame most of these talents, right? Because it's what they've seen, they've experienced, and everyone, and I mean every young person in this country, technically is fending for themselves, right? So they want to be able to get compensation on day one from day one when they start working with you, right? So attracting the right talent has also been some form of challenge to meet, right? But I mean, we're getting there. We're getting there. Currently, we have some really good talents that are really on some good payroll. So, for instance, I'm not the highest earning um, um, employee, right? Even though I'm the employer, right? But I'm not the highest earning employee in CoTrust Equity, right? I have two persons who earn more than me, right? Right. So like my salary is like half of what those two guys are earning. But I mean, I don't care, right? So because I know that we are building something and these guys are giving in their best. So I just try to make sure that I mean for now they are compensated, the way they should be. But as we grow, compensation increases and we attract more talent. Yeah.
So what can you say about like the growth in like the funding startup ecosystem in Nigeria for a couple of years and the fintech space generally? We have unicorns, cheaper cash, Flutterwave, Paystack acquisition. What's your thought in terms of trends? In terms of we can say fintech eating the world right now. You know,
All right. So I mean, in Nigeria alone, there are over 200, over 200, finance companies, right? Fintech, you know, um, insurtech, I mean, just these guys that are providing financial services in Nigeria alone, we have about 200 of them, but just I would say like less than 10% of it is known, right, in the entire fintech, the entire finance landscape, right, in Sub-Saharan Africa. Let me use that for Nigeria is the biggest market, has the highest number of fintech startups, right? So in terms of funding has been crazy, like since COVID, right? Funding has been crazy, like right, a lot of funds have gone into the space, like crazy funds have gone into the space, and I think that's one of the motivating factor for some young guys coming into the space, even without experience, right? So I mean, not until you are in the space, you will not know what some of these guys have done to get to where they are at the moment. Some of them, for like 1 year, they don't even raise, you know, could not even raise, some form of USD for their companies. But after a time, after a period of time, they've been able to prove their model over and over again, and get the right people on board. And once you're able to raise the first prestige, right, it gives you some form of validation, right? It validates you, and it helps you know, and okay, you are in the right path, and people believe in what you are doing. So just for context sake, let me just give an insider information. So recently we got, I mean, in this whole process, right? We got some really good interest from a company in Lagos, right, in Yaba precisely, who wanted to, like get some more than 51% equity, right?
More than
In CoTrust.
51%
Yes,
of the
more than
company.
51%. Yes, of the
Oh
company.
my.
So
They want to
so
tell
what they
you
are,
to.
I'm telling you, right. So what they are offering is really mouth watering. Like it's amazing. It's something that any young startup, right, who has been in the space for like maybe 6 to 7 months or even 8 months, right, can jump at. Because young people will tell you that I don't have one vision, if I do this one, I cash out, you know, I move on to something very interesting. I've had a lot of young people say that. A lot of young people say that, and crazy enough, when I talk about my mentors about this, like they advised me to, just take it. You are an intelligent guy. You can sign an MOU with them, work for a period of maybe 1, 2, or 3 years, and you move on to something else, or just relocate out of the country. You and your family just go and cool off, right? You have some really good USD in your accounts that are cooling off from a company, and that means that you also see that you also have some percentage of the companies too, right? Even though you're no longer the one controlling. But I told myself very well that we are building something that has come to stay. We are at the moment now we are not receiving the salaries we were supposed to be receiving. At the moment now, like technically all my savings, have gone into risk. The more to accumulate, you have to really go back and evaluate why you started, right? So funding in this space has really been amazing, right? So, but just very few fintechs that have been in existence for 3 years, 4 years, or even 5 years, the likes of Flutterwave, Spacestack, Shipacash, and all of these guys, even Lenko, Sycamore, Kuda, Kudi, Number, and these guys, they've been there, they've had their fair share of challenge. But now it's something they are proud of, right? Right, that they started, and yeah. So guys, young people just need to keep pushing, especially if they want to be true to the core reason why they started. They need to just keep pushing. It's not really easy. It's I'm telling you the gospel truth. It's not easy. There are times you will be frustrated, but you just need to keep pushing. You just need to keep pushing. Yeah.
So, as we round up, is there any other thing you'd like to share with us? Talk about, are you launching a new product, future, just anything you'd like to share with us as we round up?
Yes. So in 2 months, 3 months time precise, we'll be launching uh two of our products. So one is called Buy Now Pay Later, right? It's a very common stuff where you are connected to merchants. So we want to be able to have merchants who sells their products, who sells products to be listed on our platform. So that is like a side part of what we'll be doing. So micro traders. So instead of them going out to buy from other merchants out there, they can just go on the platform. They see already registered merchants, and so the merchants are making money. We are the ones funding. So instead of funding direct to giving fund direct to these small businesses, we can fund the merchant. But at the end of the day, these traders are the ones paying. They get their products, they use it to run their business, and they pay, their interest rate and processing fee, and whatever. Yeah. Then secondly, also in the next 3 months between now and the next 3 months, we'll also be launching Uber. So we call it we pride ourselves as the Uber for micro lending. So what that means is that we want to be able to give anybody anywhere in the country, right, being located in a rural community, with off-grid communities, urban communities, suburban communities in the country. We want to be able to give you the opportunity to access funding right where you are. So, for instance, if you're in Yaba, right, so you don't need to go to let's say CMS, or you don't need to go to even Surulere, because they share boundary. So you don't need to cross to Surulere for you to access funding right there in your business location. You can just go on the app, go on the CoTrust app, fill in your data, and right there you get access to clusters, communities that are within you. and you get paired to a cluster champion, and they do their diligence on you, and in less than 1 hour you get funded, and so those are the two products we'll be launching in between now and 3 months time.
Great, that's amazing. Thank you, Kelvin, for being with us today on Curious K podcast. It's been an amazing conversation.
Thank you to Colabo. I'm so grateful. We did this. I'm so grateful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you enjoyed this session. See you guys next time and have a blast. Bye-bye.